Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast brought to you by our friends over at Briar Greaves Insurance. Protecting your assets starts with a company that you can count on. So whether that is auto, homeowners, flood, boaters, or business insurance, there's nobody better in the business to work with than the great people over at Briar Greaves Insurance. For more information about them, visit their website, briargreavesinsurance.com, or give them a call at 813-876-4166. That's 813-876-4166. It is a Tuesday edition of the Pewter Report podcast, a special Tuesday edition because, one, the Bucs are playing on Saturday instead of Sunday, and two, we have New Year's Eve and New Year's Day coming up, so we've mixed the schedule around just a little bit, and my, oh my, how much has changed since our last podcast. We are going to preview Bucs versus Panthers, but it's not exactly a must-win anymore. It is a must-win, but not everything's in front of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because, as we learned last night, with the Falcons beating the Rams, if the Falcons and Raheem Morris defeat the New Orleans Saints next week,
it doesn't matter.
Bucs playoff chances, it does not matter. Yeah. So we got a lot to talk about on today's show. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is my fellow colleague, Scott Reynolds from PewterReport.com. What a crazy world we're living in, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad I hadn't bet any money on last night's game because I would have lost my house. If you would have told me the Falcons were going to beat the Rams last night, I would not have believed you, first of all. Yeah, but that's what happened. They won. And so now the Atlanta Falcons are one win away if they beat the New Orleans Saints and they host the Saints. And this is really, honestly, the rivalry in the South. The Saints and the Falcons hate each other. I know the Buccaneer fans hate the Saints, but really, when you look at the alpha rivalry, it is Atlanta and New Orleans. And that goes back to that decade of darkness when the Buccaneers were irrelevant, right? I mean, it was Drew Brees versus Matt Ryan. Those were the two teams, really. And then you had, a little bit of Carolina in there too when they had Cam Newton, but the Buccaneers were just an afterthought. So this is really the rivalry. So both teams and both teams are playing really well. I mean, the Saints are on a heater right now. It's crazy as that sounds. The Falcons have won 3 straight. They're just coming off their best win of the year, beating the Rams, who are playoff bound. So it's not like either team is going to take the foot off the gas. Raheem Morris still kind of in win, to save my job and give me another year mode. So I fully expect the Falcons to beat the Saints. And you know what? By the time the Buccaneers get to Sunday, it may not even matter because the Panthers may just wrap this thing up on Saturday with the win. And Matt, just in full disclosure to everybody, and you know this, Matt, I've been sick for just about all of December. I was sick for the first week of December. I even missed the Saints game. And then I kind of got my second wind, almost like what Adam Slavan's been dealing with. Been dealing with bronchitis for about 3 weeks now. And I got better, but then I got worse again. So I haven't been to one Buccaneer place in 2 weeks. And I went back today and I was in the locker room for the first time in 2 weeks. And the look on the Buccaneers' faces from the last time I saw them in the locker room is one of pure resignation. They're done. They're done. This team is done. Now, I'm not saying that they're automatically going to lose on Sunday. But what I'm saying is if the first sign of trouble on Sunday, their bags are packed. Their bags are packed. The losing has weighed on them. Everybody I talk to just has this resigned look on their face. And it's not that they're losers. It's not that they've got a losing mentality. It's that they've been beaten down by themselves. And they've put themselves in this position. And it's I liken it to, and I've got some college age kids. And I remember going to college and, and it's you're just having a bad semester and you're just F it, I just want this to be done. And then I swear to God, I'll go to my classes starting in the spring semester, swear to God, I'll study. I'll go to the Math Resource Help Center. I'll get the hours with the professor and, and I'll buckle down. But man, just get me to winter break, man. Just this semester's gone terribly. That's just how it feels. It feels like every Buccaneer is just ready to hit the reset button, right? Just ready just to okay, like 2026, let's just get here, right? And it was a stark contrast from what I experienced the last time I was in the locker room, which was really after the Falcons loss. It's probably the last time I was there, and since then they've lost 2 more games, and it was a little eye opening to me, right? Sometimes it's kind of like like if your parents are if they're like doing weight loss or exercising, whatever, and if you live with your parents or see them on the regular basis because they're around the corner, you may not notice it, but then it's like the sibling that lives out of state and hasn't seen the folks in like a couple of months. You're like, holy smokes, mom and dad, you've lost a ton of weight, and they're like, thanks. That's kind of what has happened to me today. I walked in there and I'm just like, wow, this place is like a morgue. Like there's no energy here. There's no belief. There's no confidence here. And you know what? I'm not knocking the Bucs. I don't blame them for feeling that way. Self-inflicted wounds. It's like they're just they're sitting in their own pool of blood that have been self-inflicted wounds, and they're just like, think I'm going to bleed out.
Yeah, this team needs a full reset and a recharge. It's like when people get worn out, they're like, "Oh, I need a vacation." And you would have thought that the bye week would have been that for Tampa Bay, but in fact, they've actually gotten worse since the bye week has been done. It feels like they're in quicksand, and it goes back to what we were talking about on yesterday's show, where it's not like that they don't want to win. It's not like that they don't put in the work during practice and the game plan. It's as soon as things go wrong, they don't know how to get out of it.
That's right.
And especially when the going gets tough, they just say, I'm done. It's not, what's the other side of it? The tough get going. They don't get going anymore. And the fact that they're playing a team that they just lost to 2 weeks ago, and they have everything in front of them, only hurts their chances even more. I mean, the Bucs haven't beaten anyone, but I would almost prefer if they were playing Miami again this week, or Atlanta or New Orleans, a team that technically doesn't have anything to play for, because the last game of the season, you kind of take your eye off the ball a little bit more. But no, not the Fighting Dave Canales. It's not the Carolina Panthers who, are really trying to turn some heads and have belief in each other, and that's what Tampa Bay doesn't have.
Yeah. So just for clarification's sake, because I know there's still some confusion out there. I even wrote a column about how the NFL really screwed the Buccaneers and their fans. Because I think you would love to have the opportunity, if you win your game, you're in, right? That's how it should be. However, there is a tiebreaker scenario, and this question from Wellesley here: aren't the Falcons out? The ESPN app says they're eliminated. Winner of the Bucs, Panthers takes the NFL South. That's technically not true. The Panthers can actually lose on Saturday in Tampa Bay, but if the Falcons beat the Saints on Sunday at 1:00, then there's a 3-way tie between the Bucs, the Panthers, and the Falcons. All 3 would have an 8-9 record. However, the Falcons are limited. You're exactly right, Wellesley. But based upon the tiebreaker matrix, even though the Buccaneers would have beat the Panthers on Saturday, they would lose because the Panthers own the tiebreaker if the Falcons win that game, and there's a 3-way tie. Kind of crazy, but that's where we are. And so I just think the NFL really, they did one of 2 things. They either really screwed the Buccaneers and their fans over, because it's like, I think ultimately you want that moment of, we won this on the field, give us the hat and the T-shirt. The fans want to celebrate. And you know what? I think in an ideal world, if the NFL scheduled both of these games, Saints at Falcons, Bucs versus Panthers, both of those at 1:00 on Sunday, then even if you have to do some scoreboard watching, if you're the Buccaneer fans, you don't leave the stadium, right? The whole stadium's there. Even if the Buccaneers game's over, let's say the Buccaneers beat the Panthers, and there's 4 minutes left in the game. Guess what? Brian Ford's going to put that game on the jumbotrons, and you can watch that game, and you're going to be rooting like heck for the Saints to beat the Falcons. But then you would know, you would walk out of Raymond James Stadium on Sunday at 4:05, 4:15, whatever, knowing that you just witnessed your team win the NFC South on the field because on the TV screen, the Saints beat the Falcons, right? You would have that instant gratification, right? Of you might have to wait a few minutes till the conclusion of that game, or maybe you're watching the scoreboard and all the Buccaneers have to do is win because the Saints are up 17 points on the Falcons, whatever. But you would have the satisfaction of knowing that. The players and the coaches, if they go in the locker room and they beat the Panthers, you can pass out the hats and the T-shirts in a few minutes. They're going to be watching TVs too inside the locker room. But you'd have that moment. And I think the NFL just stole that moment, the possibility of that moment from the Buccaneers and you, the Buccaneer fans. And I just think that's wrong. And you know what? What it screams of is corporate greed. It screams of, oh, we value the ratings rather than the fans. Screw the fans. We value TV ratings. We want everybody in Tampa to have to watch the Saints and the Falcons play on Sunday. And we're going to have the whole Tampa Bay market and Orlando watching this game. It's going to increase the ratings because let's be honest, nobody gives a shit about the Falcons and the Saints on Sunday at 1:00, other than the Falcons fans and the Saints fans, right? But if you can draw on that extra market, that's just more ratings for the NFL. And I just think it's bullshit. I think it is. I'm pissed off for you fans. Now, there's some of you fans that just, as to quote the words of Matty Diamonds, hate watch. And you want your you want your team to lose because you want Todd Bowles out. I get that too. We just did a 24-hour poll, Matt, with 2,100 plus people. 90% want Todd Bowles gone. Okay. So if that's you, then let's just cut out the drama. Let's just have the Panthers beat the Buccaneers, right, on Saturday and just wash your hands of it. And then who cares what happens between the Falcons and the Saints? But I don't know. It's a weird, convoluted thing. One thing we do know, though, is if the Buccaneers do win the division, they will have had to have help from an enemy team, and they're going to win it with a losing record.
Love the double birds, channeling your inner Stone Cold Steve Austin to the man, to the NFL. And yeah, I mean, we've seen the NFL time and time again give up whatever for the almighty dollar. I mean, don't get me wrong, Thursday games are fun. Thursday night games are fun because we don't have to wait as long for football. But like for the health and safety of players, it makes no sense. And I have a quick fix for what they could have done on Saturday instead of Bucs versus Panthers, because, it is a winner-take-all. And by the way, the NFL's got a really, really damn good Saturday night game with the 49ers and the Seahawks, and the winner gets the number 1 seed and a first-round bye in the NFC. Part of the problem why the Bucs are playing on Saturday is because there's not a lot of great clinching scenarios in the last week of the season. However, the Fighting Liam Cohens and the Jacksonville Jaguars, they're going to the playoffs, but they technically have not taken the AFC South just yet. The Jaguars have to win on Sunday. And yes, I get it. They're playing against the Tennessee Titans.
Right.
But why not showcase, Liam Cohen, look at this high-flying offense. Look what he's done. Bam, you put them as the Saturday afternoon game. You'll still get some views. I get it. It's not against the Titans.
Sure.
They can have their hat and T-shirt moment. And if not, it builds more drama for what are the Houston Texans going to do on Saturday. And then everything you said about Bucs, Panthers, and Saints, Falcons, it builds that same drama. Because that's one of the fun things, too. The crowd enjoyment of watching the other team lose in the game that your team isn't even playing in. It gets captured every single year. The Buffalo Bills donated a ton of money, I think, to Andy Dalton's charity or 1 year. The first year the Bills got in with Josh Allen because they needed the Bengals to lose or whatever the case was. So, that definitely could have been avoided. But, I mean, Tampa Bay, first of all, they got to focus on winning their own game because they don't win football games anymore. That's just not what they do over the last 2 months of the season. So that's got to be priority number 1, regardless if they're playing on Saturday, Sunday, Monday, or whenever.
Yeah, it's I just think it's really unfortunate. So it's either done on purpose for ratings, which if that's the case, screw you, NFL, seriously, okay? Because you're not looking out for the fans. And number 2, if that was done with the, oh, shoot, we screwed up. We didn't really think about this scenario where if the Falcons won 2 games against the Rams and the Saints, then it would cause this kerfuffle here between, the Panthers and the Buccaneers, and that outcome may not be decided on the field on Saturday. And if that's the case, it's just, it's ignorance, it's incompetence, So either way, it's a bad look for the NFL. I just, I don't know. I mean, I love my job. I love what I do. I love the Buccaneer organization. I love the fans. The NFL itself, the entity, the globalist conglomerate that runs this sport that I grew up loving, I think it sucks. And this is just another example, It's everything from, we don't know what a catch is. We don't know what roughing the passer is. And all these stupid NFL referee rule, inconsistencies. It's maddening. I mean, give me, Paul Tagliabue and Pete Rozelle. Those were commissioners. Like what's happening now is just, it's a farce. And it's sad. Just because if the Buccaneers do win, I want the team and their fans to have that moment. And now it's delayed gratification. You're going to walk out of the stadium not knowing if your team's going to win the division or not. And granted, you know what? It's their own fault. They put themselves there. We gotta admit that. But it's unfortunate. And I just feel for the fans out there that will go to the game, maybe to see Levante David for the last time, Matt. Maybe to see Mike Evans for the last time, and maybe they're going for that more so than just the product on the field. Maybe it's just a thanks for the memories type of thing. I mean, it just kind of dawned on me a little bit. Today it's like when you look at like Levante David, Mike Evans, those are going to be free agents, right? Those are guys that may or may not return. I think Mike Evans has a greater chance of returning than I do necessarily Levante, but Jamel Dean's not coming back, right? That's 3 more Super Bowl 55 members that are gone from this team, right? I mean, it's dwindling. In some respects, maybe it's just because we watched the Raise the Flags documentary series. The Super Bowl doesn't seem like it's that far away, like just a couple of years ago. But it's been a couple of years ago. It's been a pretty good amount of time. It's like you've got Vita Vea left. You've got Tristan Wirfs left. You've got Antoine Winfield Jr. left. You have Anthony Nelson left. Chris Godwin's still around, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, that's about it. It's crazy how just losing 3 players potentially, it really just whittles that number down.
Yeah, it very much feels like an end of an era for this team because if Bowles is gone, that's one of the last pieces of the coaching staff that was here when they won a Super Bowl, because obviously like Larry Foote will be gone and
Jason Pierre-Paul too.
Yeah, JPP who came for the ride last second, who hasn't made an impact. I know he had a pass breakup in the game against Miami, but he didn't save the team. Not that any of us really thought he was going to, but I mean, it almost feels like we're kind of doing an immemorial episode for the Bucs, and they still have a game, but that's just how bad it's gotten for this team, losing 7 of 8 and everything like that.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, so we're going to be talking Bucs Panthers today. Feels like we just talked about it because it was like 2 weeks ago that they played each other. So what's happened since then? Well, the Panthers got spanked by the Seattle Seahawks, but keep in mind, they are keeping up with their formula. Remember, we talked about this formula. I think it's now at 9 weeks, Matt, of win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. And we even said, and that's part of the reason why I picked the Panthers to beat the Buccaneers, was like the Panthers are so consistent under Dave Canales. They will they'll lose to the Saints, right? And then they'll beat this team, and then they'll beat the Rams. That's just how it's played out. It's every other week they either win or lose consistently. And so 2 weeks ago, it was the time for the Panthers to win, and they did. They beat the Buccaneers. Then last week was the time for the Buccaneers to lose. They lost to the Seahawks. Now, if it continues to play out on a consistent win-loss basis, they're poised to win if that holds on Saturday. And I also think too that they're just playing better football right now. They're just playing better football. I know that they got rocked by Seattle. Seattle's a really good football team. But it just seems to me like, especially by what I witnessed today in the locker room, this team's going to show up and they're going to give it a go. But it's kind of like, if they don't have if the Bucs don't have a lot of success early, I could see them check out. And if you want to call them quitters or losers, you're welcome to do that. But it's kind of like a dog that has been, beaten by its owner. It's like, it's still the dog, and you're like, come here, dog. And the dog is like, oh God, okay, I'm going to come because I'm an obedient dog and I'm going to come over here, but please don't beat me. Right. Like, that's the mentality. It's not hey, dog, come here. And all of a sudden the dog just runs right over. Right. Like, it's not like that anymore. This is a team that has beaten itself down to the point where they just don't have any confidence. And neither side of the ball is good right now. So it's not like the offense is like, if we just don't screw this up, the defense is going to bail us out. And conversely, Matt, the defense is not like, oh boy, we just can't screw this up. If we can just not screw up, then the offense will drop 30 and we'll win the game. That's kind of how it was last year. But this year, they're not doing anything right, even on special teams. There's nothing they can hang their hat on. And I think that they look around the locker room and no one's coming to save the day for this team.
No one can be the savior for them, and nobody is kind of being the one to change the momentum and turn the tides. We thought it was going to be Mike Evans and Jalen McMillan, and even though they've played well in their return, it still hasn't been enough. And then specifically looking at this Bucs-Panthers game, I mean, you want to talk about the defense. The part that concerns me the most about Tampa Bay's defense is that they did what they set out to do against Carolina in that first matchup 2 weeks ago, and that was stop the run, slow down Rico Dowdle, and they absolutely did. But they had no answers for what was going on in the passing game. Yeah. And I know we've seen the story before where pedestrian quarterback, rookie quarterback has the game of their life against Tampa Bay.
Yeah.
But it wasn't supposed to be like that with Bryce Young. They were supposed to be able to stop Bryce Young. But then Todd Bowles put them in bad situations where, okay, Teteroa McMillan is one-on-one with 12 seconds to go. So that is what worries me, is because if they played their best stopping the run against Carolina 2 weeks ago, if they're not at their best then, well, Carolina can go to their bread and butter, which is running the football well, plus still having that passing game advantage that they had against Tampa Bay 2 weeks ago, because who knows who's going to be playing for the Bucs in the secondary. Tyke Smith got benched, and Todd Bowles said he's going to start this week. Jamel Dean doesn't seem inspired to go out and play his last game for the Bucs. He didn't practice today. Yeah. Benjamin Morrison, the hamstring injury.
Honestly, his shoulder looked pretty messed up. He was walking out of the shower like this today. Like, his shoulder is just hanging down. So, I was watching him just operate around the locker room, and I mean, he had a hard time putting a shirt on. So I think that's legit. Either that or he's a faker, and I don't think he is. I think he's hurt, but I also
putting makeup on his shoulder to
Yeah. I'm gonna draw the bruise on there, But no, but to your point, Matt, I'm with you. It's just it's here we are. We're almost at the end of the season, and it's been a while since I've been in a locker room like this. To be honest, it's I go back to the Dirk Cutter days, really. I mean, even with Bruce Arians in that first year, where Chris got hurt and Mike got hurt and then Scotty got hurt. They were down to Brashad Perryman, and guys coming off the streets, losing to the Colts and the Texans down the stretch. And they finished 7-9, and then of course losing to the Falcons as well in overtime. Deion Jones picked off Jameis Winston, but that's probably the last time that But even then, it felt like they were still playing hard. Maybe they were just scared of BA. I think that's part of it too, is they just need somebody that they can fear again. I mean, fear can be a good motivator, right? I mean, it worked for Bill Parcells. It worked for Jimmy Johnson. People say we're in a different age, like, you can't do that in this day and age. I don't know. I mean, it worked for Bruce Arians too. People were afraid of, the wrath of Bruce Arians. Holding people accountable is not a bad thing, right? Sometimes it doesn't have to come with, hey, come on, guys, let's try harder. Let's do a
Yeah,
little bit
and I
more.
think like Bruce Arians obviously had a way more proven track record than Todd
Right.
Bowles did. And Bowles has been here for a couple of seasons.
Yeah.
With BA, it's like, hey, we're like, the proof is in the pudding. I've won Coach of the Year twice. I've
Yeah.
had winning teams over and over and over, where Todd Bowles last season was his best season. And when he wasn't able to recreate that magic once again, well, then it's like, okay, like where and who do you turn to? So, yeah, I mean, I think fear is a good motivator. I just think trying not to be embarrassed by something or the way that you're playing or losing all these games, I think that's just as big of a motivator as well. I mean, all this team knows is making the playoffs as of late.
Yeah.
But as we talked about before, it feels hollow when it's just, hey, we're winning the NFC South, not, hey, we're punching our ticket weeks in advance to get into the postseason. And it's very fitting of the NFC South that it could come down to the third seeded team winning. So a team with an 8-9 record gets in, but that's just how it is.
Joseph, thank you so much for becoming a Pewter Report TV YouTube channel member. Thank you. That's awesome. It's a great way to kick off the show here. We'll start with some super chats.
Yes, shout out, the Kings are awful. Seems to always be leading us off, but we appreciate your super chats. Thanks for the $1.99. Says Bucs deserve this. Couldn't win one game. You know what? You're not wrong. Kings are awful. Someone else pointed, it might have been a super chat, so maybe we'll get to it. Someone else pointed out, the 3rd and 28, the 4th and 14 against Atlanta 2 weeks ago. You win that game alone, and then you're at least back into a winner-take-all situation.
Yeah.
But so the Bucs have no one to blame but themselves.
Yeah.
And then the Delaney, thank you for the $1.99 super chat, says, Scott, any inside info on Todd Bowles' future?
I knew he was going to be asked this today. So the answer is no, because the Blazers are very tight-lipped about this. However, I will say this. I think Ian Rappaport, honestly was talking out of his ass. And I love Ian. He's a great guy. I'm not poo-pooing him, but I just think his report was full of conjecture. I've seen Tony Dungy give a season-ending press conference at the end of the 2001 season after the playoff loss, and then he got fired. So it's like they allowed him to give the final press conference, then he got fired. All right, well, the Blazers maybe have learned from that. They haven't done that since. But I remember them firing John Gruden 17 days after the season was over. 17 days after the season was over in 2008, he got canned. And this was after he got a 5-year contract extension, and Bruce Allen got a 5-year contract extension in that same offseason. So Todd Bowles has a 3-year contract extension, according to Ian Rappaport. That really means a 2-year contract extension because the team always has a team option for the 5th year. So if it's a 5-year deal, it's a 4-year deal plus a team option. If it's a 3-year deal, it's a 2-year deal, and then the team option for that last year, which means the team can just say, we don't want to do it, and then, or they say, yeah, we want you to come back, and we're going to pick up that option year. So I'll say this. I remember talking to Mark Dominic before the 2013 season finale. The Buccaneers started off 0-8 under Schiano, and I think they were like 4-3 down the stretch, and they won that Monday night game against the Dolphins. They started to show some life. They beat the Bills before Josh Allen, of course, but they were kind of rallying a little bit. And I remember talking to Mark Dominic before that Saints game, and he said, and I said, Mark, what are you hearing about your future? He's like, I've been given assurances by the Blazers that we're going to get another year, that we're going to be back. I was like, oh, okay. He's like, you can't report that, can't go with that, but like that's what's been decided. I'm like, oh, okay. And then they went down to New Orleans and got their asses completely kicked. And then guess what? They're fired the next day. So I don't think the Blazers have made up their mind either way. I think they're going to let this season play out as they should. Josh Capo wrote a really good article for Pewter Report saying that. Like, let's let it play out. That's why I haven't called for Todd Bowles' head. If they finish 7-10, I think he deserves to go. If they win and they stack some playoff wins together, he's not going to get fired, whether I say it or not. So we'll let it play out and see. But the inside info I have is I've seen everything under the sun that the Blazers have done. They've looked the general manager and a head coach in the eye and said, "You're safe." And 24 hours later, they fired him. So anything goes.
Yeah, and then even this wasn't totally a Glazer call, maybe, but even like the whole Bruce Arians situation, like Todd Bowles didn't become the head coach until much later in the year.
You and I were at the NFL annual meeting getting ready to talk to Bruce Arians, and all of a sudden, Brian Ford says, "Bruce has left the building."
Yep,
he just left. So I'm going to talk to you guys, and we'll see what's happening. And then we drove back to Tampa after the NFL annual meeting, and like later that night, there was a press release, and all of a sudden, Todd Bowles is the head coach. So who knows?
What a time that was.
Yeah.
Paul OG Baker, bro, thank you for this $20 super chat. Says the team starts 6-2 with MVP play from the quarterback to now hoping they can beat a Panthers team at home and get a Saints win over the Falcons. And the head coach says he is not stunned. Tired of execution nonsense. Get the F out of here.
Yeah.
It's falling on deaf ears like every single day. And again, it's not just Bowles. Baker says it too. And yeah. I'm not sure exactly what guys are going to say. So I will give them that benefit of the doubt. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, to me, it's falling on deaf ears from media and fans as well.
Here's one thing I really kind of picked up on today. And again, maybe just because I've been off the conveyor belt of going to one Buccaneer place on the regular basis. And so I get back on today and it just looks a little different to me. So I'm listening to Baker, right? And he says, he was asked, like, why were you guys 6-2 and doing so many things right, and then you're not now? And he said, yeah, we were doing the little things right, and then now we're not. And so to me, if you're not doing the little things right, it means a couple of things. Number one, it means poor coaching, because the coaches are supposed to make you do the little things right, impress upon that, and then make sure that happens. That's ultimately their job. Number two, leadership on this team is not good. It just isn't. And what I mean by that is the guys with the C's on their chest, the guys that do a lot of talking, not enough people are tuning them in and taking heed in what they're saying. And again, I've seen this dynamic firsthand, and that's why we have used the term alphas, meaning like some ass kickers on this team. You need some pricks. You need some guys that are going to ruffle feathers, get in people's faces, and rule with a little bit of an iron fist. It works, and it's worked on both Super Bowl teams, and I've witnessed that. Guys that don't put up with crap. And don't put up with not doing the little things correctly, right? And I'm not saying Baker Mayfield's not a good leader, but part of it too is it's hard to be that guy that says, "Damn it, do it right," and he just throws 2 interceptions, like in the fourth quarter and stuff. That's hard to do, because what you do if you're Baker is you kind of like pump the brakes a little bit. You don't feel like you're allowed to do that with full throat because you're screwing up too. Okay, but Levante David is Derek Brooks. Antoine Winfield Jr. is John Lynch. You have all of the good leaders on this team, the good guys, but there's no JPP, there's no Ndamukong Suh, there's no Warren Sapp. There's not that one prick guy that says, we are literally not going to be putting up with this. Like, no, coach, stop. Run it again. I want to stop practice, and we're going to do that rep again, because guys, need to get the head out of their asses. And we're not doing this shit. Like, that's the type of leadership this team needs that is not getting. The other thing too is too many walkthrough practices, too much cerebral, we're going to walk it through and pick it up and understand it. And guess what? When a guy like Tyke Smith is not at the right landmark, it's because he didn't get enough reps in practice, getting to the landmark at full speed. Okay. And that's not just a Tyke problem. That's across the board. I guarantee you that I've heard that from too many people in the building. This team does too many walkthroughs, and it's too much cerebral, thinking man's football. And that's how Todd Bowles is, though. He's a cerebral guy, and that's his approach. Is it's the instructor in him. I'm going to tell it like it is, and you're gonna heed my words, and you're gonna do it the way I say to do it. And some guys, they need to rep it at full speed to understand.
Right.
It's no different than on offense. You can't sit there and say, go run, this drag pattern at 5 yards and then increase your depth across the field. You can walk it, but when you're running full speed and you got to navigate between a dropping linebacker and a safety that's coming down, if you don't practice that, like, you're going to run the wrong route. You're not going to be at the right depth. You're not going to have the right timing with the quarterback. And I'm just telling you, this team does way, way, way too many walkthroughs. And I understand the whole, well, we need to get guys to Sunday. Is it working? No, it doesn't
exactly.
matter. It doesn't matter. Great, they're healthy, they can play, and they screw up. Great, you lost the game.
Even if they were 3-4 in their last 7, maybe you can make a case for like, hey, like we just need to get guys healthy.
Yeah.
But when you're 1-7 in your last 8, there's no reason to say, oh, well, we shouldn't try something else different.
That's right.
What they're doing is almost like if you're preparing for a test that has like you're doing A, B, C, or D, and then there's like a written part after, and you're only studying for the first half of the test, which is multiple choice.
Yep.
And you're forgetting about the second half of the test.
Oh, crap. I've got to write 5 paragraphs now, right?
Right, yeah.
Actually have to write the fact that I know this stuff. Yeah, exactly. Great point, man.
Kings are awful. Thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Says, I've made so much money this season. Bucs have been favored the last 5 games. Opponent money line plus passing yards for the opposing QB over equals free money.
It's like
you're absolutely right on the opponents. Passing yards, though, has been a little bit different, only because like Tyler Shuck didn't reach the over on his passing yards.
Right.
That's because he ran it for over 50 yards.
It was also a monsoon that game too.
Yes, and then Quinn Ewers, I remember his over-under was 204 in the game. He ended up going for 172. So technically he didn't hit it, but also Miami ripped off like a couple of big runs with A-Chain and some of the backups as well. So that's the only time. Yeah, Jalen Wright as well. That's the only time they're not hitting their player props is when they're running roughshod on Tampa Bay. But yes, Bucs are awful. Kings are awful. Bucs are awful too.
Yeah.
You are right about that stat. Virgin Boys, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Says, Scott, do our edge rushers think they will get a flag if they do anything other than bull rush? I can't watch Yaya bull rush every third day.
Yeah, I know. It's painful. It really is. I mean, there's like club rip, there's double swipe. I mean, there's push pull. There's so many different things you can do. Yeah, I would say Larry Foote, his coaching has been a disappointment. I had higher hopes for the edge rusher room because of that move. But again, we talked about this on the show the other day. I guess Larry Foote wasn't kidding when he said, I don't know how much I had to do with Shaq Barrett and JPP having so much success here. I'm like, well, maybe you're right. I don't know. I like Larry, good guy. But yeah, I mean, I know what a good pass rush coach looks like. And, I've seen a couple. Rod Marinelli is phenomenal. Joe Cullen is phenomenal. Those are the 2 best. And the common denominator is both of those gentlemen have a screw loose, if I'm being honest. Both of them are friggin' nutsos. And you need that. It's primal in the trenches. You are telling people to hunt quarterbacks. This is like caveman stuff. This is like hunt or be hunted, right? It's like, you better kill the T-Rex or it's going to eat you, right? So sharpen the spear and let's go. And it's a mentality, and then it's also all of the technique stuff too, right? It's having all of the techniques, but I mean, I could do a whole show on some of the Animal Kingdom videos that Rod Marinelli put together. Rod Marinelli would put these videos together on Saturday night and show them, and it was like a pack of like lions hunting a Cape buffalo, right? Like all in unison, like rushing, as a pack. And I mean, it was pretty bloody stuff, but like it worked. He got this guys going because they killed Brett Favre and Dante Culpepper and all those quarterbacks back in the day. Scott Mitchell, it's fun stuff.
That's why I wanted hunting gear for Yaya Diaby.
Exactly.
And
You weren't wrong, Matt.
on the
You're
Pewter
spot
Insider.
on. Yeah.
Because I remember you talking about that before.
That's right.
Kings are awful. Thank you for the $1.99. Says SR, did Bowles have his room cleaned out?
No, he's got a game to coach on Saturday. Come on, Kings of Awful.
Paul OG Baker, bro. Thank you for this $10 super chat. We appreciate it. Says, really sick of hearing the same crap from Baker and Bowles at the pressers. It's tired, infuriating, and insulting. I won't root for the Bucs to lose, but if it ends Saturday, I won't be mad, disgusted. Well, you know what? Everybody, not just you, Paul OG Baker, bro. Root for the Bucs and then root for the Falcons.
That's right. That's right. Maybe the NFL gave you a blessing. Maybe I'm looking at this all the wrong way. Now you don't have to root against your team. Just root for them and then root for the Falcons. So go, Raheem. Go, Raheem.
Yeah. Friend of the program.
Yeah.
Moving on to Meets McGee. Thank you for the $2 super chat. Says, so Mike Evans gone, in your opinion?
No, I think it depends on who the coach is, and more importantly, who the offensive coordinator is. I think that's a big thing. I will say this, and you don't make this decision just based on getting Mike back for 1 year. You don't do that whatsoever. But if you were to, say, hire Todd Monken, okay, Todd Monken was Mike's receivers coach here in Tampa for several years, and then was the Bucs offensive coordinator under Dirk Cutter in the 2018 season. Remember that season opener win 48-41 in New Orleans, the Fitzmagic games. That was him calling the plays, and it was wide open, and they put on a show and all of that stuff. So Monken coming back, and of course Monken was here during Chris Godwin's first 2 NFL seasons as well, 2017, 2018. So there's some familiarity there with him. Now, I don't know how Baker would view Monken necessarily, because Monken was his offensive coordinator back in 2019. Baker's second season in Cleveland wasn't his best year, but I mean that's a long time ago too. So I don't know. It's going to depend on who the OC is, and if Mike feels good about what he hears from the new offensive coordinator / head coach. I think he'll wait to make a decision. With Levante, I think this is it for Levante. But Mike, I think, has a chance to come back.
It was interesting what Mike was saying today as he was promoting his bobbleheads, which, by the way, if you're going to Raymond James Stadium, make sure you're one of the first 13,000 people to go. But he talked about how missing so much time this year made him miss the game so much. So that definitely speaks to Mike coming back. And I know we talked about it before, but 13 seasons. 13. Exactly.
Next year. Year 13.
It has to be.
Yes.
It's got to be 13 years.
Yes.
It has to be.
Yeah. And I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, Matt, we've talked about this on and off the air, but I think Mike would love the opportunity to step away with a 1,000-yard season, whether it's next year or the year after. But I think he would love the opportunity to step away and say, hey, I walked away, still on top of my game, etc. But keep in mind, Mike wants to be in the top 10. He wants to be in the top 10 receivers of all time, and he's not there yet. And so I think that's part of it too. His mind is on his legacy, and I think he knows he's already a Hall of Famer and probably a first ballot Hall of Famer. But now this is about just chasing legends, and he's talked openly about that. And years ago, this is nothing recent. He wants to be considered one of the greatest. And the longer he plays, look at Larry Fitzgerald, Matt, played a long time and got his name up there. And that's longevity is a big part of it.
He's always had a ton of respect for the game and the history of the game. I mean, he talked about that Peyton Manning was his favorite player growing up, which is so funny that he ended up playing with Tom Brady. But yeah, I mean, Mike definitely has that on his mind. And I know his stats haven't been great the past 2 games, but you go back to that Atlanta game in his first return, and when he can still put up numbers like that, there's no reason for him to hang it up outside of injuries and stuff like that.
I agree.
Benjamin, thank you for this $2 super chat. Says, what percentage do you think Bowles gets fired? Whew.
Yeah.
So I think there's 3 different scenarios.
Go ahead, man.
Or 2 different scenarios. Yeah. If they lose and they're 7-10, I think it's a 95% chance.
Yeah, I agree.
If they win and they get in, I think it's a 70% chance. And if they win and then Atlanta wins, so therefore they don't get into the playoffs, I think it's more of an 80 to 85% chance that he still gets fired. Now, again, to quote Josh Capo in his awesome article that everybody should check out, you do have to look at the big picture of everything, of results mixed with the process, and was the process right? But checking out the process and everything like that, I don't think Todd Bowles handled things the right way. Remember, he was mixing in Benjamin Morrison at the detriment of taking out Jamel Dean when Jamel Dean was at the height of his powers.
Yeah.
There are a couple of other examples we can turn to as well. But I think odds are that Todd Bowles is probably out of here. Now, there are a couple of factors as well, like what other candidates are out there that are better.
Right.
But it's a good question.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Kings are awful. Thanks for the $1.99. Says maybe they shouldn't have given up a 3rd and 28. Yeah, that's the one I saw earlier.
Yep.
No excuses. 3rd and 28. Get the job done.
Yep.
They didn't. JTP 155. Thank you for this $5 super chat. Says SR, hope you have some absolute dogs, alphas, leaders of men on your Bucs best bets this offseason, and I hope Jason and the new head coach pay attention.
We're going to be scouring them. We've already booked our trip to Mobile, Alabama for the Senior Bowl. We will be going to the NFL Scouting Combine in Indy as well. So in some ways, it's just beginning, folks. Even though the season is dwindling down, the offseason at Pewter Report is honestly just as exciting because there's no game to watch. You have to rely on our sources. You have to rely on what we're seeing, the boots on the ground and the people we're talking to, and putting together those free agent lists, putting together those Bucs best bets and our draft coverage, our mock drafts, and then also too the coaching, right? All of these coaching hires and changes that could be coming. So it's gonna be a busy off season. Do not touch that dial. Stay on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel, and PewterReport.com, of course.
Meets McGee, thank you for this $5 super chat. Says, I support Jason Light, but he really needs to change the silhouette to a montage of Levante David and Ryan Jensen.
Yeah, we
need more Luke Gedeke types.
Yep,
on defense.
I've heard that from inside the building that they need a I am that man plus, and that plus needs to be a Ryan Jensen, a Jason Pierre-Paul, and Ndamukong Suh. Those are some players, I'd say Sapp, but I mean, Jason he wasn't the GM when this team had Sapp, but he knows of Warren Sapp. But yeah, they need somebody with an edge to come in because, like I said, you've got all of the John Lynch's, the Derek Brookses, the Mike Allstott. You've got all of the guys that are the good, positive leaders, right? That are, the Levante David types, the Winfield types. You have all those guys. You need the prick. You need the guy that's going to cause some friction. You need the guy that is going to light the spark and again, channel it the right way so you don't burn your house down, but you start the fire that engulfs the rest of the league, and then you burn the league down because you're a good football team. And that's where this team. And if they get that guy, and Matt, that guy might be Max Crosby, right? That guy might be Max Crosby. That might be a situation like that where you can go import that player, and I'd rather you import a free agent like that than necessarily get someone in the draft who, guess what? You have to draft and develop, and I think Tyke Smith can actually beat that player. I was talking to Tyke today, 2 Bucs fans, and myself and Greg Allman and Rick Stroud were talking to him. He took accountability. He's like, yeah, I got benched and wasn't fun, but I understood it. I was a little banged up, and coach in part wanted to protect me, but also too, I got benched and, I'll learn from it and get better. So I loved what I heard from him about that. He was being accountable. Everybody's entitled to a bad game. Lord knows everybody in this team has had a bad game this year, some more than others. But I think he's a player that that will have a C on his chest sooner rather than later. He's kind of a no-nonsense guy, but sometimes, Matt, it takes a minute. It takes a while. I remember having conversations with Tristan Wirfs doing the training camp diary with him a couple years ago. And I'm like,
right.
And I said, dude, this is your, as a matter of fact, it was during the Ryan Jensen, injury season in 2022. And I said, this is your offensive line now, and he's like, I'm the youngest on the line. I'm like, Ryan is gone. His knee is gone. Ali retired. This is your offensive line. You need to step up and be the guy. And he's just like, I'm not that comfortable. I'm like, you're the best frigging player on this team, Tristan. You need to be the guy. And sometimes it takes a while for you to be comfortable in doing that. Now he's that guy. Now he feels comfortable wearing the C. He's comfortable talking to the media, saying anything he wants to the players. But when you're young and you're walking into a room with established guys, and remember, he was on that Super Bowl team with Ali Marpet, who had a C on his chest, right? And Ryan Jensen, who was also the leader on that offense, not just the offensive line, but the offense. And I think Tyke is going to be a guy that is going to maybe be that dog on defense, but you'd still like to have that guy up front too, because that's where football games are won and lost, in the trenches.
No doubt about it. And we've heard Todd Bowles say before as well that, Tyke is wise beyond his years and he's playing like a veteran already. Yeah. So no surprise that he's taking things very accountable as well.
Yeah. Just to mention this, because we have a comment here from Wasp. I hope Ibuka reaches 1,000 yards. I talked to Emeka today about that. He'd like to get it. He doesn't care about it, honestly. He's like, if it comes with the win, great. He's like, if we don't win, I don't want it. So, I mean, that's all you could possibly want to hear from a guy like that. And so many years, that was Mike too. Mike would be like, hey, I would trade my 1,000 yards in for a playoff, right? During the 2015 season, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019, Mike would have easily cashed in those 1,000-yard seasons for a chance to go to the playoffs. So this kid, his head screwed on right. He's like, if I get it, great. I'd love to get it, but like I want to win on Saturday.
James Blair, thank you for this $10 super chat, says, shouldn't be that pissed with NFL scheduling. All we needed was one more win. Right. We had Saints, Falcons, Dolphins, game chances to do it. Yep. No fault of the NFL. Bucs screwed the Bucs, period.
Well, the reason why I say no fault of the NFL is because the NFL decided on Sunday night when the games would be played in Week 18. So that's why I'm faulting the NFL, because they knew what the tiebreaker situations were. And they still decided to give the Buccaneers the Saturday game. So what you're saying is not wrong. The Bucs put themselves in the situation, but the NFL could have looked out for the Buccaneer fans and the team and not robbed them of the opportunity of, if you win the game against the Panthers, go ahead and grab the hats and the T-shirts, right? As long as, of course, the Falcons still lose to the Saints. But if you had those games on at 1 o'clock, both on Sunday, you'd know within a matter of minutes what your fate is. Now, it just feels cheap to make fans leave the stadium and wait 20 hours if the Buccaneers do win to find out the fate of their team. I just think it's wrong. Could have been avoided.
Banned from a merch sales standpoint as well, because you'd be like, hey, buy these hats. It's like, well, no one's going to buy them when they don't even see Mike Evans wearing one.
That's exactly right.
D Buck 757, thank you for the $2, says our secondary is horrible. Too many yards given up.
You're not wrong. And it's been that way for years.
The worst in the league.
Yeah.
Sunny Sides, thank you for the $5 super chat, says I'm ready for the offseason. When is the mock draft coming out?
Middle of January. I've already started to dive knee deep into draft study. So we'll be at the Senior Bowl the last week of January. So it's approaching rapidly. So a couple weeks.
Eric Moreno, thank you for this $2 super chat, says, just saw Morrison did not participate. Hamstring, concern or no? And then follows it up with another $2 super chat. Thank you. Says, we need Dean or Morrison to play, or both.
Yeah, we probably should have gotten to the injured report a little bit earlier, but let's go ahead and get to that right now, Matt. Jamel Dean Benjamin Morrison and Anthony Nelson, as well as Tristan Wirfs, did not participate. Obviously,
Correct.
Wirfs has the toe, and Nelson has the knee. Hamstring for Benjamin Morrison. No surprise there. It's been a factor all year.
All
And then,
season.
and then Jamel Dean with the shoulder. The players that were limited were Luke Edeke, ankle injury, Kalijah Cansey still with the pectoral, Baker Mayfield, right shoulder and knee. He was limited though. And then Devin Culp was a full participant with a knee. For the Panthers, Chris Barnes, the linebacker, these are the players that did not participate today. And the Panthers also did a walkthrough as well. Chris Barnes, linebacker, back injury. Claudin Chairless, a linebacker, calf and ankle. Rico Dowdle, the running back, toe. Robert Rochelle, cornerback, concussion. Jatavian Sanders, the tight end with the fibula. Those players did not practice. These were the full participants. Robert Hunt, who was on injured reserve, biceps. David Moore, the receiver, on injured reserve, elbow. And then Turk Wharton, the defensive tackle, with a hamstring. All three of those players were full participants. So I don't know. I mean, otherwise you're looking at Kendall Vildor, Jacob Parrish, getting play it outside corner. So is it going to matter? I don't know.
We've seen that experiment before. Moving on. Sexy Princess Rider, thank you for the $5 super chat, says Saints and Bucs versus Falcons and Panthers at Hell in a Cell. Who says no? I feel like instead it should be one of those. This should be more of a street fight.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Maybe that the NFC South is hell with how everyone's played. So
yeah,
could be onto something. Virgin Boys, thanks for the $4.99 super chat, says, why is Ibuka always trying to one-hand catch the ball when he has the drops? I've noticed that for a while, but no one has mentioned it.
I don't know. I haven't mentioned, or I haven't noticed it, and I haven't mentioned it. So that's why for me. What say you, man?
Some of the high throws that Baker sails on him, I think he just tries to make a play. Because a lot of the drops Ibuka's had, he's just dropped it with his two hands. I don't think he's gone too far. T-Level, thank you for the $5 super chat, says, let's play Madden. What are 3 roster coaching changes you would make for next year?
That's a little too involved for me right now with the time we have left. I would just say in generality,
Max Crosby, trade for Max Crosby.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, I'd get an edge. I would get a stud inside linebacker.
Yes, that's what I'm
thinking.
Stud
edge, a stud inside linebacker. I would get a no-nonsense coach, like a hard-nosed, ass-kicking, no-nonsense coach, a Vrabel, like that type of coach. I think they need somebody who's proven in the league. I don't think this is the time to experiment with like a new Raheem Morris. You're going to have to get a guy with play calling experience, either offense or defense. This is not the time where you can just go with the young hotshot unknown guy that doesn't have anything he can hang his hat on. This you can't afford to just get somebody with training wheels for 2 years and see how they do. That you need somebody to come in and have an immediate impact. So those are
last one I would say too is, speaking of impact, a tight end like a Kittle, a McBride, some type of tight end that can really take things over the top.
That's true. Speaking of take things over the top, well, let's talk about what we have on tap. This is the last podcast of the year, folks. We're not doing another damn podcast for the rest of the year. However, come Friday, it's a new year, and we're going to have a new podcast, and that's going to be for our Pewter Platinum and Premier members. Possible Todd Bowles replacements. That's right. Matt and I are going to go deep. The show that you want to listen to and be a part of. Friday, 1:30. Possible Todd Bowles replacements. We're going to spend the whole hour talking about whoever you want to talk about. We're going to bring some names to the table, as well as our insight. Are we getting ahead of the game? Yeah, we are. That's what we do at Pewter Report. So that's going to be Friday's show for our Pewter Premier and Platinum members. And if you have not had the opportunity yet to upgrade or even become a Pewter Report TV channel member, you can do so. Hit the join button on Pewter Report TV, and that'll tell you how to do it. Then on Saturday, the next day, we've got our Pewter pregame show at 9 o'clock. I think myself and Josh Capo are going to be doing the show. Matt's going to be traveling back to Tampa. Safe travels, Matty. And then he will be back by that afternoon to do Pewter Game Day at 4:30 with Daniel Morales on the call. All of those shows are here on Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel, plus streaming live on X and Facebook at Pewter Report. Then we will be back Saturday night. Bucs versus Panthers post-game podcast. Is it Levante David's last game? We'll let you know. We'll get reaction from Levante after that game, and we'll, of course, know the outcome. We're going to be talking about it. So be there, be square, right here at Pewter Report TV. Probably around 8 o'clock or so. 8 o'clock is what my guess is for our podcast, 8:15. So we'd love to have you join us, and should be a really fun show. And again, if you have not subscribed to Pewter Report TV, our YouTube channel, well, please do so, because we use our travel budget that comes from our YouTube revenue. So this is a great way where you can kind of pay yourself, so to speak. You know, you want the inside scoop on the Bucs and what's going to happen this offseason, become a channel member, and we're going to go to places like Mobile, Alabama, and the NFL Scouting Combine in Indy, and the NFL Annual Meeting out in Arizona this year, and get all that scoop for you. Wall-to-wall coverage this offseason. Pewter People membership start at $3.99. Pewter Pro members for $6.99. Pewter Premier members $9.99, and Pewter Platinum members $24.99. Find the subscription level that suits your budget the best. We greatly appreciate it. We've really appreciated this season of giving that you have bestowed upon us this holiday season with an influx of new Pewter Report TV channel members. Thank you very much. And as we always do, we want to thank our Pewter Platinum members. We'll let that roll across the bottom. We have a couple new ones as well. So thank you very much for becoming a Pewter Platinum member. And remember, if you have not emailed me, if you're a Pewter Platinum member, if you have not emailed me with your physical address and your shirt size, please do so. You can email me at sr@pewterreport.com. I need that information to be able to send you some Pewter Report merch after a while. So make sure you do that as well. But Matt, let's continue on with these super chats as we let our Pewter Platinum members have their day in the sun, like you're having your day in the sun.
Yeah. Thank you to all of our Pewter Platinum members. And thank you to Steve Shute for this $20 super chat. Says, it would truly be the most Bucs thing ever for them to somehow beat the Panthers and Atlanta beat the Saints. They lose draft position and still don't make the playoffs. Worst of both worlds. It's truly a Bucs life.
If they're not going to make the playoffs, let's just get it over at 7-10, shall we?
I agree.
Let's just do that. I mean, like, let's
do up open locker room on Sunday. Like,
yeah,
why delay the inevitable?
I'm with you.
Salty Buccaneers, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Says, fire every single coach, draft a-holes, sign vets. You got to revamp the group one way or another.
You do. Yep.
Kings are awful. Thanks for the $1.99 super chat. Says, has Jason had his wake up and warning yet?
Yeah. I mean, he fully knows what's happening and what has transpired and what needs to happen. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Message received.
Jacob, thanks for the $4.99. Says, Rappaport and Barber don't think Bowles will be fired. Are we in a seething echo chamber?
You know, I would put more stock in what Rondé says than Rappaport. But again, I'm telling you firsthand, I had a conversation with Mark Dominic prior to losing in week 17, because it was 16 games back then. And they thought they were fine going down to New Orleans. They were given assurances, and they lost in New Orleans and they got fired. So people are allowed to change their minds too, including the Blazers. So they could be thinking one thing right now, good or bad, however you want to take that. And they could see something on Sunday that changes their mind. I will say this. We were talking in the media room today, and if they lose this game and the fan base just, if there's a chorus of boos as the team is running off the field, and I don't mean the Panthers, I mean the Buccaneers, it's going to resonate, man. I mean, the Blazers are human beings. They have eyes, they have ears, right? The number of empty seats in the stands on Sunday, or Saturday, I should say, is going to be telling as well. Now, maybe some of those fans say, damn it, I don't want to go to this game, but I want to be there for Levante's last game. I get it. You're going to go to the game or not go to the game for your reasons. But I will say, and I was kind of doing a little bit of an informal poll today in the media room, if the Buccaneers somehow make the playoffs, right? Like Matt, when you sign up for the season tickets, right, and you get that email from Brian Ford, hey, we want you here for the 50th season of this franchise, and got a great schedule, and we won 10 games last year, and Mike and Levante and Baker, and we got Tristan and Antoine, and we got a great team. You're like, okay, all right, I'm in, right? And you sign up for those season tickets, right? Well, you were there for the Jets game in week 1. Right. And when you sign up for season tickets, you get tickets to all the games, including week 18 against the Panthers. Now here we are. Right. But what's not included is playoff tickets. And the NFL sets those prices. And guess what? Those playoff tickets are worth more money. They cost more money than regular season tickets. Right. Because this is the playoffs. And I don't know why I'm starting to sound like Tom Segura, maybe because I watched Teacher last night. It's a Netflix film, but I'm channeling a little bit of Tom Segura here. And it's like, okay, so guess what? Now you have to buy playoff tickets, right? And then who is going to want to plunk down more money for playoff tickets to watch? Who is it? The Rams now? The Rams come in here and throttle the Buccaneers. I mean, how many empty seats are there going to be? I mean, probably a lot of Rams people would come, but it's not like, Packer fans would want to escape the north and the cold for a weekend to come down to sunny Florida. You're out in sunny LA. It's not much of a big deal. There'd be a lot of enemy fans here for sure, but still not enough to fill up the whole stadium. So that's just something to consider too.
And there's a chance that the 49ers get the 5 seed, and that'd be even worse because their fans do travel a lot. Yeah. And I think I've never been to San Fran or Santa Clara, but I think it gets colder like this time of the year. It's not like the rest of California. Right. Before we wrap up with the rest of these Super Chats, I want to give a quick shout out to Splash Sports. You can join over 2.5 million people playing on Splash Sports. It's the home for Survivor, Pick'em, and Quick Picks. Get a boost on Quick Picks with the best multipliers in daily fantasy sports for the Bucs versus Panthers game on Saturday. You can also do it for the college football games coming up on Wednesday and Thursday, and, of course, all of the Sunday NFL games as well. Turn $20 into $1,000 by downloading the Splash Sports app. You can use the QR code on the screen and start winning some money. We got a couple more super chats.
Oh, Matt, I just checked the forecast for Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see, what time is kickoff? 4:30?
Yes.
Well, as of right now, at 5:30, it's supposed to rain on Saturday.
Oh, jeez.
From 5:30 to 10 o'clock. It's supposed to rain on Saturday. Yeah.
Beautiful. So we'll get the Saints game 2.0.
Yeah, how about that? That it worked out so well the first time, didn't it? But listen, folks, after the rain, as Nelson would say, you can play some golf. That's right. It's supposed to be pretty good weather next week, and actually later this week as well. It's a little chilly, but still, it's going to be sunny up until this weekend. But then next week, highs in the 70s and sunny. A great time to play Heritage Isles Golf and Country Club. If you have yet to check out Heritage Isles, it's up here in the new Tampa area. They're ranked in the top 3 for the best value golf course in the Tampa St. Pete area by Golf Advisor. That's good stuff. That means value means it's not going to cost you an arm and a leg, but it's got picturesque scenery, some really challenging tees. And then for tee times, give them a call at 813-907-7447. Heritage Isles Golf and Country Club.
All right, let's get to these last couple of super chats. We'll start it off with Salty Buccaneer. Thank you for the $4.99. Says, if the 2022 team played the 2025 team, how many touchdowns does the 2025 team lose by? And yes, I mean the 2022 team with Hainsey at center with Jensen out on injured reserve. I don't know. It's
my brain hurts.
Yeah, because the Bucs offense wasn't that. I mean, you have Tom Brady at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think what Salty Buccaneer is saying though is like both of those were like 8 and 9 teams, right? Sure. And we're assuming the Buccaneers would win on Saturday to get to 8 and 9, but they might be 7 and 10.
Nick 662, thanks for the $4.99, says, I'm convinced Baker's still damaged from the left shoulder. His performance drop started that week. Don't be Cleveland and ditch him. They're not getting rid of Baker.
Yeah, they're not.
And maybe injuries did play a bigger factor than any of us are willing to admit. But I don't know. He said that he learned from his lesson in Cleveland.
Yeah.
If this was the case again, well, then he clearly didn't learn it, and now the Bucs are
Yeah.
to the detriment of it. But Baker can bounce back.
Yeah. Speaking of injury, there is somebody maybe Baker needs to call about that injury, and I'm not saying a trainer. Maybe it's maybe he wants to sue somebody over that injury.
Welcome to Jorgensen Law PA, where our family's legacy drives us to fight for your rights. Specializing in personal injury, workers' compensation, and Social Security, we're committed to winning for you. No fees unless we succeed. Trust in our family to help yours. Let's achieve justice together.
I'm just kidding. It's football. You're going to get hurt. You can't sue about it. But if you're not playing football and you get hurt, then you can sue about it, especially if somebody else was at fault and hurts you. Give Jorgensen Law PA a call. They're the champions of the injured and disabled with an office over there in St. Petersburg, Florida. You're going to get a free case evaluation and no fees until they win. I love that confident attitude. Their number is 727-347-7733, 727-347-7733, Jorgensen Law PA. Visit them on the web at jorgensenlawoffice.com.
All right, one more super chat to go. Thank you to Sexy Princess Ryder once again for this $5 super chat. It says, as a non-Bucs fan, it just seems like they've given up, like watching the Miami game. They punched first, Miami punched back, and they just gave up.
Yeah. I don't know if I would say like gave up. Like it's not like they quit. It's just how hard do you want to fight? You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
It's and you've probably seen if you've watched enough boxing, right? And Matt, you've watched prize fights and stuff before too.
Yep.
You're in a situation where you're up against the ropes, right? And you're not going to win. Like you know what the scorecard is in your head, right? Mm-hmm. And you do not have what it takes to beat the other guy. Like you just don't have the strength. You're hurt, but damn it, you're not gonna get knocked out. You're gonna run out the clock, right? In the round, you're gonna play rope-a-dope. You're gonna do this. You're gonna run around the ring. You're not gonna quit and throw in the towel and just get KO'd or TKO'd, right? You're gonna force it to go to the scorecard, even though you know you're gonna lose. You're not gonna quit, but you're not gonna win either. And I think that's where this Buccaneer team is. They're not quitting per se. It's just they're not going down swinging. I think we can say that.
Yeah.
If you catch my drift, there's a little bit of a subtle difference here. This is not a quitting team. They're not losers in that respect. It's just they don't have a lot of fight left in them.
Right. Like there's a little bit of pride. There's more for like UFC. Like there's a little bit more pride in saying you lost by decision than knockout or submission or TKO, whatever. Correct. But you're still not thrilled with how it went. And that's how it kind of feels like for the Bucs. Like just kind of, I'm sure some players may already have their Bucs flight to Cancun.
Yeah.
Or, flights booked to Cancun. That's
yep. So. Yep. I'm with you on that. Folks, it has been a wonderful year. I'm not saying the Buccaneers. I'm saying a Pewter Report. You folks, you Pewter people, you don't lose. You win. You're winners. And no matter what happens with your football team, we are here for you. You are here for us. We're in this together. And we're going to do this probably one more time. One more game. And that'll be in 2026 at the end of the 2025 season. And we'll see what happens after that. But one thing I do know for sure is we're knocking on 2026's door. And I think it's going to be a more exciting year. I think it's going to be a better year. The staleness that has evolved in this team, I think we're going to have a breath of fresh air come through in 2026. I'm not sure who's going to be breathing that breath right now, but I think we're going to get there. On behalf of myself and the Pewter Report staff, we thank you so much for your patronage to PewterReport.com. Please don't forget about our website. That's where our bread is buttered, is over there at PewterReport.com. Please visit, read our stories and content. We have a lot of stuff lined up for next week. A lot of stuff. So just make sure you visit PewterReport.com. On game day, after the game, on Sunday for sure, on Monday for sure. Don't miss Tuesday, et cetera, et cetera. Buckle up. You have taken this Pewter Report TV YouTube channel to new heights. We are over 22,000 subscribers this year. Our goal was 20,000, and you beat it by over 2,000. So thank you so much for that. Please have a very safe and happy and joy-filled New Year's Eve and New Year, and we will see you in 2026.
Extremely well said. You hit the nail on the head. So I'll just say, so grateful for each and every one of you. And I hope you have the best New Year, happy, healthy, safe, and have a fantastic time rocking in the new year, however you want to celebrate it.
Yep.
And we have, more content to come. Pewter Insider on Friday.
Yep.
The pregame show, game day show, and postgame podcast on Saturday. But that's going to do it for us on today's show. Just a reminder as well, if you're not already doing so, please make sure you're following us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We're at Pewter Report. And our YouTube channel is PewterReportTV. So please like and subscribe. Leave a comment on this video. How you feel about the Bucs, or what you think about the Bucs in 2025 and what their resolution should be in 2026. But that's it for today's show. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Happy New Year to each and every one of you. And we'll see you next year.